You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Friday, the 13th. Yep, 13th day of February, 2026. And don't forget, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. If nothing else, at least get a card. Thanks for joining us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first broadcast is our live training room. That's reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you haven't taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael joins us at the top of the hour, he'll walk you through the simple steps to sign up for the trial. It'll take you about 3 minutes of your time. We'll get your indicators up and indicating today. Your trial will officially start Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when we go to work. And it will run all the way through next week until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. There's no credit card required for the trial. We want you focused on what's being taught so you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Not only do you get access to the live training room for 2 hours every trading day, you get access to everything else we do the other 22 hours of the day. We work literally around the clock, and you have access to it all. We treat you just like you were already a passport holder for 5 trading days so that you can make that well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not what we do is right for you. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What'll happen going forward is every trading day you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit there is you automatically have access to the question box so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, there will be days when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. But if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. And like I said, you're not going to watch them all, and you don't need to, but it's a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. Again, at the top of the hour, Michael will join us about 1 p.m. Eastern. Again, he'll show you how to get signed up for the 5-day free trial, no credit card required. He'll give you a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room, and then do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. Right now, we'll get started where we do each and every day with our daily devotional. Now, the topic that we're on, and this is day 4 of 7, you are more than you've been told. Normally, we start with a verse before we get into the topic, but I'm going to be sharing a number of verses with you as we discuss today's topic. And that topic is how Jesus did it. If we want to be followers of Jesus, then it's kind of simple that we would want to do it the way he did it to the best of our ability, because he succeeded. Jesus accomplished what we hope to. He shut down the lies of the enemy and lived out his God-given purpose here on earth. So let's unpack how he did it. Jesus gave us a behind-the-scenes look at his rhythms and his life's structure to show us how we can defeat the lies of the enemy as well. In Matthew 4, we find Jesus alone with God, praying and fasting from food in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. The devil approached Jesus. He saw an opportunity to try to take down the Savior of the world. So what did the enemy do? What was his evil and powerful plan? He didn't come with an arsenal of rusty weapons or an army of demonic soldiers. The devil decided his best plan was to try to make Jesus doubt who he really was. He wanted Jesus to second guess if he really was the Son of God. He hoped Jesus would answer to a lesser name, then live a lesser life, and then never live out the purpose God had for him. The enemy uses this same tactic with us. He knows how valuable your life is and how important your choices are. So he will use his best weapons: lies, doubt, drugs, booze, women, you name it. He's been at it for a long time. He's perfected his craft. And he's got a tool in his arsenal designed specifically to take you down. He cannot risk you knowing who you really are and living the life you were created to live. When Satan came at Jesus 3 times with lies, manipulation, coercion, and temptation, Jesus came back at him with Deuteronomy 8:3, Deuteronomy 6:16, and Deuteronomy 6:13. Then the enemy left Jesus. Jesus fought what was spoken with what is written. When the enemy comes at us with lies about who we are, we need something more stable than what we are feeling. We need to know what God has written. When I was in my painful season and forgetting who I was, I had to fight for real time with God, to be alone with Him, to engage with His Word, and make His voice the loudest voice in my life. Then I started memorizing the names God gives us. I don't know what ways the enemy has tried to lie to you. You may have been told that you're not enough, that you're unworthy, unwanted, or unloved. But you are more than you've been told. You see, God has some other names for you. It is written in John 15:15 that you are a friend of God. See, you're not alone. Jesus is with you. He has your back. He's in your corner. In 1 Thessalonians 1:4, it is written that you are chosen. You're not here by accident. You are made for this moment, right where you are, the way you are, because the creator of the universe said it was important for you to be here. Ephesians 2:10, it is written that you are God's masterpiece. You're the handiwork of the artist of the heavens and the earth. Your details are important. You are a work of art, meticulously made to accomplish the good works of God. It's also written in 1 Corinthians 6:19 that you are the temple. No matter who took advantage of you, and no matter what you feel lost because of your choices, when you give your life to Christ, God's Word calls your body a temple, the place where the Holy Spirit dwells. Your body is good. In Acts 1:8, it is written that God calls you a messenger. God calls us witnesses of the love and power of Jesus and messengers of the gospel to those right next to us and to the whole world. God wants to use your real story to reveal the real love of Jesus. In Galatians 3:26, it is written, you are a child of God. We don't have to live in fear of the future or live trying to prove our worth. When you give your life to Jesus, you can trust, rest, enjoy, and take steps of faith like children who are safe and loved. In Romans 5:8, it is written that you are greatly loved. You are so loved that even while you were running away from God, He was running after you. He sent His Son Jesus to die for you so you could be free, forgiven, and reconnected with God. He wants you to enjoy life with Him now and for eternity. In John 8:36, it is written that you are free indeed. You may be living in chains right now that you don't have to live in. Give them to God. Surrender them to God. Live as the free child of God you really are. And one more. It is written in 2 Corinthians 5:17 that you are brand new. Jesus is a brand new beginning. With Him, you are a brand new creation with an entirely different life. As I fought for time with God, I got closer to Him than I ever imagined. And then I started to see myself through His lens, not my lens, not the lens of the enemy or the lens of the world. But I actually began to see myself as God sees me, as it is written. When you know who you are, it changes how you live. Just as Jesus fought for time with God and defeated the lies of the enemy, we can too. In the next 4 days, we'll unlock 4 rhythms of Jesus that will show us exactly how to do it. It's time to live as who we really are, according to God's Word, because it is written. Let's pray. Thank you, Jesus, for giving us an example of how to defeat the lies of the enemy. We don't want him to have any victory over our lives. We want to follow you and the way you lived. Please give us the courage. We want to know what God says about us and live as who we really are. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen, and happy Friday. Happy Friday the 13th. One more reminder, tomorrow's Valentine's Day. You still got time to get a card. In fact, you can even go to Walmart online. They say most people in America live within 5 miles of a Walmart. I don't know if that's true. But you can have delivery in a couple of hours. I mean, if for some reason you can't get out and go to the drugstore up on the corner. They used to say everybody in America lived within 5 miles of a Walgreens, but that changed when Walgreens last year shut down, or the year before. Maybe it was spread over the last couple of years. They shut down a lot of stores, probably one in your neighborhood. All right. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. I'm going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently, the Dow is up 212 points. The NASDAQ is up 91. S&P 500 is up 38. The Russell 2000 is up 47. Now that's a gain of almost 2%. In the commodity basket, crude oil is down a penny, trading $62.81 last. Gold is up $84.70, trading $5,000 33.50 last. That's a gain of 1.75%. Silver's up $1.89, trading 77.56 last. That's a gain of almost 2.5%. And the Asian markets at the close. The Nikkei dropped 697 points, 1.25%. The Shanghai fell 51, 1.25%. The Hang Seng dropped 465, 1.75%. Now, we had our members only workshop last night, and I talked about what I anticipated happening as the Asian markets open and as the European markets open at 3 a.m. Eastern. The Asian markets bore out pretty much what I foresaw. You see, here's the thing, that sell-off we had yesterday here in the U.S., the Asian markets had not yet had a chance to react to that. So as the Asian markets opened, a lot of stock positions had margin calls on them. So there was some selling going on. That's going to drag the indices down. Remember, futures follow stocks, not the other way around. I know the term future thinks, okay, so that's where price is going to be in the future. No. The futures are a reflection of where price is now. It's a long story, so I won't go into it in depth, but I'll leave it at that. The European markets, and when I gave what sounded like a doomsday sermon, I said I pray that I'm wrong on all of these. I pray that tomorrow I feel silly for even having considered there would be such a sell-off. Well, Europe, while it didn't hit any home runs, it did eke out some gains. The FTSE up 43 points, DAX up 62, the CAC down 28. So that gave us a red day in Asia. It was a mixed day for the UK. And so far, it is a big green Radio Friday here in the US of A. Now, there's a term called dead cat bounce. I'm not even going to attempt to explain it to you. I want you to do the research. I want you to Google it. I want you to see what it is. I'm not saying that these green markets we have today, I hope they're part of the next leg to the upside. Let's go to the moon. But I also want you to be well informed. And I also want you to understand the games that institutional traders, the ones who actually move price, sometimes play. Most of all, I want you to be careful, and I don't want you to get hurt. Okay? So when we're done today, Google that. And don't just read the first article that pops up. Read a couple, because you want more than one person's opinion. Okay? And again, I'm not calling today a dead cat bounce. But I'm also not saying that it isn't. Only time will tell. And you have to embrace all the possibilities. And then put yourself in a position to protect yourself no matter what the outcome is. Turning to the news, Congress faces a midnight deadline tonight to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded, with lawmakers still at odds over immigration enforcement and agency reforms as of this writing. Democrats are seeking tighter limits and oversight of ICE and Customs and Border Protection, citing recent operations and fatal encounters in Minneapolis. You know, the ones where people were out in the streets interfering with federal law officials doing their job, and they sadly were hurt, killed. What a needless tragedy. My heart breaks for those families. You had federal law enforcement officers doing their job, and you had ordinary citizens listening to the voice of the enemy via their mayor and their governor, lies of the enemy, and it got them killed. Their blood is on the governor and the mayor's hands. And that's where it'll be for all time. I hope they've prayed for forgiveness. I really do. The Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, revealed its 2009 finding yesterday that greenhouse gases threaten human life and well-being. The so-called endangerment finding formed the basis for the agency's case to regulate emissions from vehicles, the oil and gas industry, power plants. In 2007, the Supreme Court ruled greenhouse gases are air pollutants and called on the EPA to determine whether they pose a public health threat. In response, the EPA found carbon dioxide, methane, that's when a cow farts, and 4 other greenhouse gases met the criteria to be considered dangerous to humans under the 1970 Clean Air Act. In yesterday's decision, the Trump administration claimed the Clean Air Act only covers pollution directly causing harm to humans and only where damage is near the site of pollution. Democratic governors said they would challenge the repeal, setting up legal battles expected to reach the Supreme Court. I'll let you make your own decision there. This one will blow your mind. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who's only 42, plans to designate his teenage daughter as his successor, according to South Korea's spy agency. They told this to lawmakers yesterday. Kim's daughter, whose name is believed to be Kim Joo-ae. This is how secretive this government is. No, people don't actually know the Supreme Poobah's daughter's name. Anyway, that's what they believe her name is. And guess how old she is? 13. She made her public debut at a missile test in November of 2022. Speculation about her political future mounted after she joined her parents on a New Year's Day visit to a site with the bodies of her late grandfather and great-grandfather, North Korea's first and second leaders. South Korea previously said it was unlikely that this 13-year-old girl would succeed her father, given North Korea's patriarchal society. She reportedly has an older brother and a younger sibling whose gender is unknown. Talk about secretive. Kim is expected to outline policy goals at a party conference this month, the first since 2021. North Korea's economy reportedly grew 3.7% in 2024, the fastest pace in 8 years. But that's based on data that we get from a country who won't even tell us their daughter's name. Really? Well, we'll see what comes of it. Inflation cooled more than expected in January, according to data released by the ever-trustworthy Bureau of Labor Statistics. And I think they might have got this one right. We'll see. Consumer Price Index showed that consumer prices increased 0.2% in January from a month earlier and 2.4% on an annual basis, down from 2.7% last month. Economists surveyed by Bloomberg had expected a 0.3% monthly increase in consumer prices and an annual bump of 2.5%. On a core basis, which excludes volatile categories like energy and food, because we don't use those, prices rose 0.3% over the past month and 2.5% over the prior year in January. Both met expectations. This also marked the slowest annual increase in core inflation since March of 2021. There's a whole lot more to this story. You really owe it to yourself to get out there. Read those reports. President Trump's going to roll back some tariffs on metals, including steel and aluminum goods, as he and his administration seek to battle the affordability crisis ahead of the midterm elections. See, when you go in high, you go in strong, that gives you lots of room to negotiate. From Bloomberg, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he expects Trump's nominee for the Federal Reserve Chair to get a hearing, despite Republican Senator Tom Tillis holding firm in his vow to block any vote. Bessent said on CNBC today that he met with a group of GOP senators on Tuesday and that an agreement had been reached to hold a hearing on former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh's nomination to lead the central bank. And crude headed for the first back-to-back weekly drop this year as traders weighed the prospect of expanded OPEC supplies against U.S.-Iran nuclear talks and recent weakness in wider markets. West Texas Intermediate down about 1.2% for the week and was little changed today. We will look at the crude chart here in just a few minutes. Now, we talked about North Korea. We believe in equal airtime, so let's talk about China. Victor Davis Hanson. I think most of you probably know who he is. He wrote an article that I want to share a little bit of with you. He writes, I'd like to talk about our two Cold Wars. The one that we won against Russia and the one that we're de facto in against China. They're very different. And I would argue that the 45-year Cold War with Russia was much easier to win, despite their 7,000 nukes, than it will be with China, for a variety of reasons that we should all be aware of. Number one, Russia was Russia, kind of a pariah state. It was isolated from the so-called free world. Europe was Europe, and Asia and the United States had guardrails against it. There were no students de facto from Russia in the United States, none. There was no conduit for espionage or the expropriation of American scientific and engineering knowledge out of our PhD programs, MBA programs, you name it. There was very little espionage by students. There were very few Russian nationals in the U.S. We just simply didn't let them in. There was no American investor class in Russia. I remember the day that the news came out that companies would be able to invest in Russia. It's been 20 years or so, give or take. Remember how controversial Armand Hammer was? He was the head of Occidental Petroleum. He had the pencil monopoly in Russia. His parents had been living in Russia. They had been pro-communist, at least his father, as I recall. And then they'd gone back to the U.S. He'd grown up part of his youth in Russia. He spoke fluent Russian, and he was our de facto business liaison with the communist government. Every time there was a JFK or Nixon or Johnson administration and they wanted a back channel, they called Arm& Hammer. I don't know quite what his sympathies were, but he was about the only one, and he was a pariah. People were angry at him. Take the example with China today. It's much different. And funny, there was a sense that Russia had very bad propaganda. People thought that Russians were crude. They thought they were cruel, that nobody liked them in the third world when they came in. Even today in Hollywood, have you noticed that almost every villain in every movie is a Russian? He has that kind of guttural Russian accent. He's got a shaved head. He has a tattoo when he takes off his shirt. In fact, he's covered with tattoos. There's the 3-bar Orthodox cross. It's a very cruel caricature. But we don't do that with China. And remember that we thought we were going to be blown up by Russia. They had 7,000 nuclear weapons. They had the mother of all bombs. It was either a 50 or 100 megaton bomb they dropped. It was all over our childhood in school. Kids hiding under desks. That propaganda wasn't propaganda. It was actually the truth. So we were clear who the enemy was and what they were capable of. China's very different. They were an ally of ours in World War II, but unlike Russia, that we did not include in the Marshall Plan, and we stopped Lend-Lease right after, we had a much more empathetic view. China was deindustrialized. It didn't really have a chance. It hadn't made a deal with Hitler as the Russians did. It had been preyed upon by Japan, and so there had been American missionaries, not colonialists or imperialists. We never had an imperial project in China, but it was sort of a goodwill. It wasn't even lost during the Korean War. We had this good feeling about China, and there are 300,000 students, people in the administration. I don't know why we're thinking of having 600,000. If you have 1% engaged in active espionage, that would mean you would have about 3,000 students who are actively trying to glean information in labs, research projects, joint endeavors, and sending that data home. Almost every student who leaves the United States and goes home to China is interrogated by the intelligence arm of the People's Liberation Army. It's nothing. The Russians had no such clout. They were almost, as I said, no Russians here. 3 to 5 million people are foreign-born from China. I think 3 million of them who are in the U.S. are not U.S. citizens, they're residents. That would be unheard of in the Cold War with Russia. I don't know how much investment there is, but it seems like every American capitalist has made a fortune in China. People have suggested it may be trillions of dollars over the last 40 years. I'm not saying they have dual loyalties, but there's an insidious idea that China is not really an enemy because of the massive amount of money that has been invested there and all the cheap plastic crap that we bought from them. Victor David didn't write that. That was my editorializing. I hope you get the picture. We're playing with fire, and nobody seems to care. I care. I hope you care. I really do. Last, former CNN host turned independent journalist Don Lemon is set to be arraigned in federal court today in Minnesota, along with 4 other defendants who were indicted for their alleged roles in disrupting a service at church. I mean, we all saw it on film. Why is that alleged? We saw it with our own eyes. For disrupting that church service, where an Immigrations and Customs Enforcement official was a pastor. I know lots of pastors who have a day job. Also scheduled for arraignment Friday, today, is civil rights attorney Nakima Levy Armstrong, the subject of a photo posted on an official White House social media account that was altered to falsely show her crying when she was arrested. The picture is part of a deluge of AI-altered imagery circulating since the fatal shootings of Renee Good and Alex Preddy by federal officers in Minneapolis amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Arraignments in federal court typically include the entering of pleas and the scheduling of future proceedings. Can't wait to see what happens today. Okay. Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, and silver. We're currently in week 393. Over the last 393 weeks, we've issued over 21,500 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based simply on market structure and the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. She will update it this afternoon or this evening as she does and finalize it for the week. But at the time of the recap this morning, since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we issued 41 alerts. At the time of the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 7. That gave us 34 actionable alerts, of which 4 or 12% would have been stopped out, again based on simple market structure, the simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the purpose of the logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. If you never actually trade a logic alert, still use them for the purpose created. You want to be able to look at a chart and actually read it, understand it. If it looks like chaos, you're not there yet, but you can get there, and the logic 247 alerts will help you. You need to be able to look at a chart and understand not only where price is, but where price is potentially going. What's the old thing about a hockey puck? You shoot it where you hit it where it's going. I'm not a hockey guy, but you guys know the analogy I'm talking about. Anyway, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and in most cases, additional targets, and then always a final trade to target. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session, and vice versa. Again, if you never trade a logic alert, make sure you use them to learn how to anticipate where resistance is coming in, where support is coming in, because that reveals the windows of opportunity between those two important points, and that's where you'll find your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. Now, 393 weeks, that's a long time. It's a little over 7 years. But quite a few years before Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the Concierge Trade Alerts. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'll just simply say they don't come out around the clock. They're typically posted 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open each evening. So we're in the Friday session right now, but the Friday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So all of our traders and even trial members had all of these targets 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open. The S&P 500, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So as we go through the individual charts and look at the individual markets, you'll see these targets drawn out, which is what you should do because that's going to help you in your learning process too. Just remember, everybody had the targets 5 minutes before the Friday session started at 6 p.m. Eastern last night. So with that said, let's go to the chart. We'll start with the S&P Emini futures, the bellwether as it's called by some. Okay, pull this over. There we go. All right. So there's yesterday's sell-off. Okay, now that happened pretty quick. That moved down. And we found support right at the 24% fib extension. That's where we opened last night, at the 24% fib extension. We dropped to a low of 68.08 3/4. I was 18 points off of the number I gave everyone in the workshop last night, which was 67.90. Okay. And we got a green body on this candle. But look at this cluster of resistance overhead. That's where I want you to focus. The 38% fib extension, okay, where the market found support on this day and on this day, okay, it could become resistance on this day. You've also got the BBC, the black step line, and red and falling, all crowded into that area right there. Now, not only is that potential resistance times 4, it can also act like a magnet, okay? Institutional traders will run it right up to that spot. And sometimes, especially on a Friday, they want to enjoy their weekend, not be worried about open positions. And so, as we approach the closing bell, they exit. That's not a forecast. It's just one of the possibilities of how this could play out today. Now, we had a steep drop after the open last night. This was a red candle all the way down to here. But then buyers came in ahead of where I anticipated. Got us right back to where we opened. And now we're staring at a green body. The opening price, 68.65, and the high so far, 68.97. That's about 30 points in that little green body right there. And you got to add on that little wick at the top. So, if the institutional traders who move price can rally it up to this area, be very careful, and especially Sunday night, be very careful. you see, we've still got this crown of thorns up here. See that wick sticking to the upside, and that wick, and that wick, and that wick. Okay. I don't know that there's anything like a textbook dead cat bounce, but if there were, I might pencil that into my journal and then wait and see what happens. But that brings us back to you trade what's in front of you. Okay, you analyze the market, you learn to read the chart. Okay, this could happen or this could happen. One of two things is going to happen. Price is going to go up or price is going to go down, right? I know it can go sideways for a little while, but ultimately price goes up or price goes down. So you make your plans for both sides. All right, if the market hits this spot, I'm long to this spot where I anticipate resistance. Or if the market drops to this price, I'm short to this spot where I anticipate support. That's all part of what learning to read the chart is all about. Okay, so this time Monday, God willing, we'll be having a conversation about what actually happened. I don't know, I can't remember the last time, I'm sure there has been, that I've seen this kind of a cluster. I mean, again, you got the 38, red and falling, the black step line, and the daily BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC, just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. Below the green line, bearish, lower prices, higher prices, lower prices, higher prices, lower prices, higher prices. Get the idea? Okay. Okay, all the alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. The vertical line you see separates today, Friday. Here's Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones that are published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. This has been a very unusual week, especially with the ES. The first time we touched a weekly trading zone all week was today. That was the gap higher open Sunday night. And you see how we'd flat. And I kept telling you every day, the way this thing is flatlining, we're going to get a big move in one direction or another. And we'll. So see, as long as you're prepared to go to work in either direction, don't get married to one side or the other. Be flexible. Now look what happened today. These are the zones that were published, some of the zones that were published Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. All of our members and trial members had them Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. So where did the market find support? At a weekly zone, 68.15/16. Where's our resistance? 68.92/68.93. Now we still have a few hours left in the day. But I want you to notice, see how this black step line is starting to angle to the right. In fact, it's directly above blue and climbing. And you see how price is getting rejected? One of three things happens when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the times consolidation, 20% of the times rejection, 10% of the time the slice. Okay? So looks like we're going to get rejected here, maybe not. The next resistance overhead would be way up here, 69.24, and then up at the long target. But we got to get through this zone first, the zone that was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. We found support at the zone below. We found resistance at the zone above. There's more zones overhead and there's more zones below. But got a feeling we'll probably stay inside of this area. We had wide zones this week, okay? So again, look at that black step line. See how once it crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, that's when you look for price to retrace back to the BBC. Now, the good news is the pullback holds more often than it doesn't, but eventually it will trade through. Like right here, you see how the pullback held and the pullback held and the pullback held, pullback held until it finally traded through right here. And then we hit the resistance defined Monday morning, and now we're coming back to the BBC. All right, on the Dow. Here's where we opened last night. We hit the short target, consolidated for hours. Support's going to always send the market looking for resistance. We did get above the BBC briefly. That's a little bit unusual. But after a big move like yesterday, anything's possible. Actually, anything's possible any day, but where we find support at the weekly zone from Monday morning, and where we found resistance, the weekly zone from Monday morning. Okay? And again, look at all the days that we didn't touch any zones. That is so unusual. Actually, yesterday we did. Here. Okay? And also on the ES, we hit that zone yesterday. But we couldn't get back up through it. Look at all the times we tried to get back up through it. Just like we're trying to get through it now. It's a pretty tight lid. So in today's session, we got the zone below, and we rallied all the way to the zone above. Well, look at that crown right there. Wick sticking up, wick sticking up. Now, could this next candle just all of a sudden take off like a rocket? I would watch if that were to happen. I don't foresee it happening, but if it does, potential resistance here. Definitely right here. And then here, where the bearish cross happens. That's when the red line gets below the green line. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good resistance. Now, that may not happen until Sunday night or Monday or Tuesday. Could be next Friday. Could be a month from now. I don't know. I just know that when price gets back to 52.50, whether it's a day, a week, or a month, or gosh forbid a year, good resistance. First time up. More often than not. You see how the step line right here is getting ready to cross balloon climbing? That correlates with what we're seeing here. Rejection at the zone. Just like we got rejected at the zone down here. Came down, touched it, turned around, and whoosh, this was the 9:30 opening candle on Wall Street. The Russell. Here's where we opened last night. Here's where we hit the short target. Support, sent us to resistance, back to support. Then we got above the BBC. And we've made it all the way to the long target. Remember, the Russell was the only one that was the one that was up the most when I gave you the numbers from around the world. And look at where we got resistance. You see where the red line crossed below the green line? Right there?
Yes.
Oh, is it time for you?
It is, but I wasn't going to interrupt.
Okay.
I was just answering your question.
Okay. All right, guys. We'll pick up where we left off. When Michael's done, he's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. And then do a little live trading as time and the markets permit.
Yes. Let's bring it over here.
And as Kyle again reminded me just now, we do have a holiday Monday, so we won't be here.
We do. We'll be back on Tuesday. All right. Everybody ready?
Okay, yeah, looks good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Friday, the 13th day of February 2026. It's been a fantastic day so far. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button right here. There's no credit card required. When you do click on that, it's going to bring you to this page, which I just updated. Where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Down at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. Now, if you sign on today for the trial, you get it today and all of next week. Okay, maybe even the week after that too. We'll see how it goes. But down here at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. Okay, hit the register button, and we'll know you signed on, and we'll get the indicators indicating on your desktop and get everything you need to get cranking. All right, so we had a pretty good day today. It was actually better than yesterday, and it's been a pretty good week actually. We've had 4 out of 5 days this week we're over $1,000 a contract. Can't complain about that. I was worried about the daily average as we started out. 3 out of 5 days were below $1,000 a contract, and out of the first 8 days we had only half of them, not even half, were above $1,000 a contract. But I think we're getting back on track here. Anyway, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We're up 196 ticks on the NQ. That was the high of the day. We're up 46 on the Russell. That was not the high of the day. On the Russell, the high of the day was 55 ticks. We were up 55 ticks. Speaking of 55 ticks on the YM, and that was the high of the day on the YM. And 30 ticks on the ES, and that was not. 40 was the high of the day on the ES. So we ended up with $1,860 per contract. Today it took 3 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,000 a contract. Now that's kind of odd. And there were, I'll explain that. We had a couple of Russell trades that should have been +1s. Each one of those should have been +1s. And one was a -2, and one was some other number that was not a +1. And so then we had one other trade right after that. I don't remember exactly what market it was, but we had one other trade that was supposed to be a plus something, and it ended up giving me positive slippage. So that's all right. We had 5 times that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times today. We had negative slippage that took us from a break even or better trade to an actual negative trade 6 times today. Sorry, stuck on something here. But it is what it is. We ended up positive. Really, did really well. We had positive slippage in day 2, so it is what it is. So on the month we're $11,950. Today took 3 minutes and 3 trades to get to 1,000. We took a total. This is what I was trying to get to. This is where I stopped. We took 57 trades. That's a whole bunch of trades with 7 stop outs. So 87% of our trades this morning break even or better. That puts us at $11,950 with 1 contract on the month. Over 10 days, averaging $1,195 a day. And on the year now, we're at $34,975. That is with 1 contract over 28 days, averaging $1,249 per contract per day. Now, following the 24/20 blueprint, I think this went up a little from yesterday. I'm not exactly sure, but it took us just 3 minutes to get to $1,000. So that's what builds this number, the amount of time and the dollar value. So this year so far, you'd work 2.6 hours. Following the 24/20 blueprint, quit trading when you get the goal for the day. If you did everything exactly like I did, you'd be at 2 contracts now. And you'd be up $5,517. Okay. Let's get into the trades. We'll start over here on the Russell. We had a bunch of trades on the Russell. I think we had more on the Russell than anything else. Okay, so I'm going to hit the control and back. I have a lot of trades to go through today, so I'm trying to take up too much time going through them all so we can get some trading in, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're almost there. There we go. Our first trade on the Russell was right here. Now I showed that as a positive trade, but it actually ended up being a negative trade. We ended up with -3. That was one of those ones that gave me negative slippage. It hit my stop at +1 and gave me a -3. And this one here hit my stop at +1 and gave me a -1. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. Then the next one we had here, that was another one. Actually, we had 7 of them because that hit my stop at +1 and gave me Oh, no, wait, that was just +4. Okay, so that was good. I guess +4 goes back to 0. Then this was a +4. That got us to 4. And 1 got us to 5. And another one got us to 6. And then the next one, this one right here was supposed to be +1, but it ended up being a -1. So that can be 2 ticks of negative slip. So we ended up with 5 after that. And then we had a big trade right here. We had a 30 tick trade there, got us up to 35. Then we went from 35, we had another big trade. We went to 55. And then the next one right here was supposed to be +1, but it slipped us down to -2, so we ended up at 53. That was a positive trade, but it slipped us. So it wasn't a stop out. And then we were at 53 at that point. Then we got 1 tick there to get us to 54, and then I think we had to stop out. We stopped out, went down to 39. Then we went to 40 right there, and from 40 we went to 44. Then we had another one that was a +1 that slipped us to 43. Then we went back to 44 again. And then went to 46, and there's a couple of trades in there, like 3 trades in there that I didn't write down. But but I stopped writing them down at 46. So we had more gains after 46 in there. 3 more trades that I didn't write down. It was hectic in there this morning. It was a lot to keep track of. And if I could get to my DOM right now, we'd have a trade right now. This right here was a trade right here, but I didn't find my DOM in time. And that was the Russell this morning. Now the YM, we were positive on everything, but YM we had a bunch of trades on everything too. Let's just hit control and back on that. Back to the beginning of the YM. Going all the way back here. See some red in there. How's everybody doing today? Y'all having a great Friday the 13th. Part of me just wants to just stay in my house and not do anything. It's been going great so far. If I don't leave my house, I'll be safe. Part of me says that. I know it's not going to happen. All right, our first trade on the YM. This is when I was trying to get the goal for the day. I picked up 30 ticks on that very first trade, but that did not apply to the goal for the day. I had the other stuff. I wasn't sure if I'd gotten the goal for the day on the other ones, so I went and looked. And then I went and looked, and I realized that I had just gotten exactly the goal for the day. So we didn't apply this 30 ticks until after. So we got 30 on the first YM trade. And then we gave it all back. I think we got 2 stop outs in a row after that. No, I'm sorry, we got a little bit of a gain there, got us up to 32, and then we had 2 stop outs in a row. Didn't we? Yeah, we went to 17. After that stop out, then I went down to 2 right there. Then I had to work to get it all back. Went from 2 to 3, then 3 to 8. 2 to 3, then 3 to 8. And it shows me 8. So it went from 2 to 3, then 3 to 8. And somewhere there was a big, it went from 8 to 39. And then the next trade after that was one of those ones, I don't know where it is, that went from 8 to 39. But the next trade after that was one of those ones that gave me negative slippage where I thought I got a +1 and I got a -1. That put us down to 38. And then I stopped out. So it was somewhere around here. So right here was a +39. Then this was a +30 right there. That goes +39, I think. Something like that. Then we stopped out and got down to 23 right there. And then we had a big trade. We had a big trade somewhere in here. It went from 23 up to 55. So we had a 32 tick trade. I don't know where exactly that was, but it was a full target trade somewhere, probably right here. That's probably it right there. Now, if we go all the way to the end, we don't have any trade right now. We're not too far away from setting up a trade, but we don't have one right now. Okay, and now we'll do the ES. On the ES, we had quite a few trades on the ES today for the ES especially. We had over 10 trades on the ES. This is taking a long time to do all this stuff because I still have to do all the NQ. I'm going to have like 2 minutes to place trades. All right. So here, our very first trade on the ES, we picked up 1 tick. Did we get 12 ticks? Actually, no, we got 12 ticks on the very first trade. We picked up 12 ticks on the first trade. Then we went from 12 to 33. So we had 21 ticks on the second trade. And then we went from 33. That was one that gave me negative slippage. Went to 32. It should have been a +1. And it ended up being a -1. So we're at 32 at that point. Then we went to break even there, break even there, break even there, break even there. Then went to 33 and another break even. And from 33, we went to 34, then 34 to 38, and 38 to 39, 39 to 40. And then we stopped out right there, 40 to 30. We had 2 more break-even trades toward the end of the session right there. And I should have gotten something on those 2, but I think I was doing a million things at once. Still doing a million things at once. Let's go to the very end and see if we have any trades right now, because we have not placed a trade yet. We're pretty close to a trade here. If we got a down close on this bar, the next bar could hit the mid-band and bounce up, but it's not a trade yet. Okay, not a trade yet. And that was the ES. Nothing else has given us a trade. Now, in a minute here, I want to look at the bigger picture on the ES. The NQ, we had a bunch of trades on the NQ this morning. We had more on the Russell than we had on the NQ, but it was pretty close. Just about the same amount. So let me scroll back and then we'll look at some of the bigger picture stuff that I tried to show this morning for the NQ and for the ES. Here we are. Okay. First trade on the NQ was right there. We picked up 11 ticks. Then picked up 22 ticks, get us to 33. Then in here we picked up, that should have been 50 ticks, but I think it was 48. Got us up to 81. And we had a break even. Actually, that wasn't a break even. Went from 81 to 84, then 84 to 94, then 94 to 114. Then 114 to 124, then 124 to 129. A bunch of trades right here. Went from 129 to 139, 139 to 150, 150 to 160, 160 to 170. Then 170 to 179. And then this, I wrote it in as a stop out. It wasn't a full stop out. I don't know how this happened, but I only stopped out 8 ticks on that. I went from 179 down to 171. Then I got 10 to 181. Then it looks like 15 to 196, and I didn't write in what that was. That last trade there. And that was the NQ for us this morning. So there were a ton of trades everywhere, and the NQ is just about good a trade right now. Needs an up close right now on the NQ. Trigger trade, and there it is. And well, there it is. Here it is. Okay. Now it just went to +10, so I'll lock in 14. And that's it. 14 on that one. So that's our first trade of this session. Let me just put a little arrow on it. So if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, mytradingiq.com. Okay, and on this page, just click the purple button. It's going to be to the registration page. Just fill it out. Right, when you fill that out, we will know you took the trial and we'll get everything going for you so that you can get into the room with us and get the indicators indicating on your desktop. Now, there's a lot of stuff that is going to be thrown at you when you sign up for the trial. You only need to learn how to do one thing. Okay, you don't need to learn everything. You just need to learn one thing. And if you can do one thing consistently, day after day after day, then you can be profitable day after day after day. Now, I want to show you guys something else here. All right, I had looked out here at the larger time frames on the NQ. I looked at the larger time frames, and I think I had scrunched it all up and drawn in these things. Earlier this morning, I had drawn in these numbers. This one here was one that Dwayne and I were looking at, the weekly trading zone. Then I had given this number here, and then I had given a higher number than that earlier. All those numbers happened, right? This number down here did not happen, and that's good. We didn't want that number to happen. We wanted it to keep going up. But that was one of the things I had done on the NQ. Now, I had done something on a larger time frame. I'll show you in a second. Here, let me just bring this back here like this. And we'll go stretch it out to here. I believe this guy right here, the daily on the ES, is what we're looking at. So we struggled all morning getting back to the open. But then right at the end of the morning session, we were at the open. We're going back and forth right about the open. And now what we need to do is get up to the BBC right here. It'd be fantastic if we closed today above the BBC. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be great if it did. What we're doing right now, this was a retracement of this leg up, but we overdid it a little bit and kept going down. And I think that what happened yesterday was they built in the news that we had today, because Dwayne, I'm sure went over all this with you guys today. But the core CPI, well, hang on, let me look at the other one. This one. Let's look at this guy. All right, so this stuff here, the CPI, that's Consumer Price Index. That means we're paying less. That's good. The inflation rate is less. That's good. The inflation rate year over year is less. That's good. And core inflation month over month stayed the same. That's all good news for the consumer, for us, but it's bad news for interest rates. That's why the markets got killed yesterday, I think. All that right there is why the markets got killed yesterday. So they built it in. They built it into the market. They priced it into the market before it happened. And that's why I think we're seeing this move up today. That was, I think I done something on the NQ, suggesting where the NQ was going to go to, but I won't get into that right now. Okay. What is this where? I know I'd drawn something over there, but let's just go back here and we'll see what we can do here. We picked up 14 ticks on that first NQ trade, right? So let's add that in here right now. Insert one below. Just copy that one, paste it there. This becomes 46. This becomes 213. This is a 14. This is a 0 so far. 0 so far. This is a 1 so far. And this 13 minutes left right now. Okay, so come down here, bump this up to a 46. There. All right, so we're going to be averaging 14.69 minutes trading per session. Something looks off on that. That is a big number. Did I mess something up somewhere? I don't think I did. 70,200. I think that's okay. No, we're averaging 100. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's all good. We're averaging $152 per session so far. Okay, let's get back in here and trade some more if we can. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've done or said so far? It is a Friday afternoon. We have 12 minutes left in here to do this, and then I have meetings. Several of them. So I am here to help you all right now if you have questions. Okay. So after this, I probably won't be able to respond to text messages and all that stuff for a while. This is going to be a trade here on an up close on the Russell right now. Up close on the Russell will be a long trade. We need a down close followed by an up close on the YM. We need a down close followed by an up close on. Right? None of that happened. So none of those turned into trades. I don't even have to finish saying it. None of them turned into trades because we got down on everything. Okay, that's good. That's gonna be a lot of words. So nothing flipped the YBR either. So I'm not taking any trades right here until we get back up above and pull back down. That was something that I pointed out this morning. We had a trade that triggered after it went through the midband like that. It came back up and it came out of the oversold and crossed the midband at the same time. I do not like those trades, right? Because that means the midband is going to act as resistance at that point. You want to see the trades come down, hit the midband, get below it, and then cross right back up above it. Not go through it, then dot all around down here for a little bit, and then cross back up above and get back up above it. You don't want to see that. Okay, so all these gaps are getting filled right now. Every gap just got filled. Okay. Messages. So we need a down close on the Russell followed by an up close. We have it coming up over here on the NQ right now. Just need the up close there. And there it is on the NQ. Here it is on the NQ. And stops at plus 10. Stops at plus. Trying to go to 16. 16. 24. 28. And there it is, 28. The gold didn't trigger. But we just got 28 more on the NQ. Stick that over here. 28, that makes sense. 42. This 82. Okay. So we need that to get back down into the oversold. This is in the oversold over here on the YM, but it's nowhere near the midpoint, so you're not going to have a trade there on the YM. Right? The Russell didn't get into the oversold, so we didn't get the bounce there. The ES is at a weekly trading zone, and it doesn't look like it's going to give us anything there either. Okay. Today it's the 13th, right? I have to check out my new headset. I should actually just give it some. This one's going to die soon. I just feel it. All right, so we have potential for trades on all four markets right now. They all need to get into the oversold. They all need to hit the mid band. But they all have potential for long trades right now. I don't know which one's going to happen first, which one's not going to happen at all. But that's what we're looking at. Nothing. Nothing. If we close up here and we close up here, then it's going to have a lot of work to do to give us trades. All right, we could have something here on the YM. Up close on the YM would be a trade. Up close over there on the NQ will be a trade. The YM and the only ones so far. The Russell is now in place to give us a trade on an up close. All right, so we have potential trades on 3 out of 4 of them right now. We need the up closes on all of them. All right, but a down close on the Russell. A down close on the Russell. We didn't get the up close on the YM. We didn't get the up close on the NQ. So we need the Russell to close up, YM to close up, and the NQ to close up, and those will be trades, all 3 of them. Okay, the YM didn't happen. I'm going to cancel that one. Russell didn't happen yet. The NQ could still be a trade, though. NQ could still be a trade. It's going to be way down there, though. NQ could still be a trade. The ES is inside a weekly trading zone, but it could also give a trade. The Russell is not a trade now. Cancel that. The NQ is not a trade. Cancel that. The S is not a trade. None of them turned into trades. Wow, that was tough. I really thought we were going to get a trade out of that. All 4 of them were setting up nicely, and none of them gave us a trade. This is the high of the day here on the ES. And where the high of the day is on the NQ. So all the way up at 993. This is pretty close to the high of the day. That is the high of the day. That's probably the high of the day on the YM too. 817. Yep, that is the high of the day on the YM. And the Russell is at 675.7. So Russell's is up here somewhere. All right, so they all just failed at the high of the day. I really thought we were going to get another trade there. Well, so far we're 2 for 2, and we have 3.5 minutes left. So we'll see if we get something else here. Wrap up our session for today. And really, between this and all the option trades and everything else that's happened today, it's been busy. 13 for 13. The options. All right, so we're in the red on the YM and on the Russell. Those are pretty close to giving us a trade. I wouldn't want to trade right now on the ES and the NQ because they pull back so deep. The one thing that's appealing is that this right here on the big leg length right here, this is just a little more than 50% retracement. This is much more than 50% retracement of this leg length, so that's not that appealing. But we have a chance here on these two guys. We have 2.5 minutes left, so we'll see if it happens. If we only have 2 successful trades, we only have 2 successful trades. I'm happy with that. It was more than the goal for the day between the 2 trades. It's almost twice the goal for the day, I think, right? Yeah, twice the goal for the day. Almost makes you want to adjust the goal for the day. Almost. All right. You can have a goal that you can achieve every single day. Okay, we are on the way. I just had a thought. I haven't seen what it looks like outside all day today. Okay, it's 54 degrees up. That's pretty good. 54 and sunny is what it says on my phone. All right, so we almost have a trade here and here. The YM could give us a short right now. Just get that in the middle here. YM could give us a short on a down close. The Russell could also give us a short. These two have started running up, so it almost makes me not want to take a trade on the YM if we do get a short. But a down close on the YM will be a short right here. A down close on the Russell will also be a short right here. The YM is not a trade. That's good. I didn't really want one. The Russell is not a trade yet either. I don't really want one there either. I want them to run up just like these others are. But if it does give us a down close, it will be a trade. So we'll take what we get. Okay, and we are just about it. We have 30 seconds left. So I'm hoping the Russell closes up. It did, so we don't have a trade there either. And look what it did. It just completely tanked. All right. Well, that's all right. We didn't end up with a trade on any of them. I don't know what just happened here to make the markets bounce like that, but it's going to come back up. Let me just see. I didn't have a trade there on the Russell today. We did have a trade there on the Russell, and somehow it gave me 4 ticks. 6 ticks. 6 ticks. I'll show you. I had the order waiting there apparently. It didn't cancel it fast enough. And this is what it did. It filled me there, and it should have bumped me to +1 tick, but it bumped me to +6 ticks. No, probably bumped me to +1 tick, and it just ran so fast it gave me 6 ticks. So either way, I was looking for the down close back here on this bar, and so my order was waiting right there for the down close of that bar. And it triggered me in and gave me 6 ticks. So we'll just put it in here. 6 more right there. Okay. And 3 trades. So this is how we're going to wrap it up for this session, guys. 42 ticks on the NQ, 6 ticks on the Russell, 3 trades, 0 stops, 13 minutes trading, $240 with 1 contract to $2,400 with 10. So in these sessions, in the 46 sessions that we kept track of, we're averaging $156 a contract over 14 minutes, almost 15 minutes. So we're averaging $10 per minute per contract. That's what it comes down to. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, and click on the purple button. It's going to be to the registration page. Fill out the registration page. Remember, Tuesday is when we're going to be back. Tuesday. All right. That's it. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Wayne is ready.
Yeah. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today it took 3 minutes and 3 trades to get you $1,000 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you. Actually, it was 1,000 with 10 contracts. It was 100 per contract.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right, guys, we left off with the NQ, and here we go. Michael, have a great weekend. All right, guys. Black step line still trying to cross balloon climbing. Got these wicks sticking up here on the NQ. This spot right here, 25. Let's call it 25,010. Okay, you got potentially good resistance, and that's if this current candle or the next one, these are 30-minute candles, can punch through this little double top right here. Now, if we get above this high, there's lots of room to run up to the next area for potential resistance here, and then of course here where we had the bearish cross. Okay. On gold, here's where we opened last night. Get a leg and a retracement, some sideways consolidation, leg and a retracement, pullback held, leg retracement, pullback held, and we're trying to squeak our way up to the long target, which is based off the bearish cross from yesterday. Now we're off the high of the day. The high of the day so far, 5056.8, and high of this candle is 5052.2. And then last, silver starting to flatline here. This is where we opened last night. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. It took us right up to the BBC, consolidated, got a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. We're consolidating sideways, trying to build a green candle. But you gotta wait. See these little double top on these wicks here, 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 here. So those are all layers of resistance that silver would have to overcome. But if it can overcome those, if it can get up into this area here, about 79.50-ish, it could potentially make a run at the long target as we head into the close. Again, that has a lot to do with how institutional traders decide to handle this thing. Are they going to carry these positions home over the weekend, over the long holiday? Okay, we're not just talking about a weekend. We're talking about 3 days. Now, the futures market will open Sunday night, but the stock market will be closed. And always remember, futures follow stocks, not the other way around. That's why we don't open on days when the stock market is closed, even though futures are trading. You know, it's President's Day here in the U.S. No other country celebrates the U.S. President's Day. So their stock markets will be trading, okay, but ours won't. And that has a huge impact on the markets. You'll see the holiday trade on Monday. So be careful out there. And the weekly trading zones, instead of coming out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, whenever there's a Monday holiday, they come out Tuesday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Okay? That's how it's been now since 2008. Let's see, no, since 2009. December 14th, 2009 was the first Monday we published the weekly trading zones. So it's been a little over 16 years. To become a member, email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. Just let her know you want to become a member. She'll send you all the information you need to get signed up. As a passport holder, you get 2 hours of live training every trading day. On top of the 2 hours of live interactive training, you got access to private one-on-one mentoring. There's no extra charge. All you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support, resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just simply how markets work. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts. Those will help you learn to read the chart. Every afternoon, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open, 5:55 p.m. Eastern, you get the concierge trade alerts. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones. Every Thursday night, you get to attend the members-only workshop at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you get the golden keys that open all the private channels in Telegram. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Just email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. Let's wrap this week up with our good word for the day. Consult God in everything. Joshua 9:14, they did not ask counsel of the Lord. Live with one ear towards heaven. Is this opportunity from you, God? Are you in this venture, God? And then listen. Not with your ear, but with your heart. Should I take this road, God? One time Joshua failed to do this, and well, he paid for it. Here's the story. A group of strangers entered the camp of Israel, saying, "From a very far country your servants have come." Evidently, they knew God's law had made special provisions for cities outside of Canaan. You can read about it in Deuteronomy chapter 20. Any city that agreed to make peace with Israel would be spared. So, being afraid, they resorted to deception. 3 days passed before Joshua realized he had been lied to. These people were not from a distant land. They were from Gibeon, only a day's walk away. As a result, Joshua entered into an alliance with the enemy because he didn't seek the counsel of God. We do well to learn from his mistake. Our enemy enters our camp in disguise as well. Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. He's crafty. That's why it's essential that we consult God in everything. In every decision, at each crossroad, acknowledge him, heed him, and ask him, do I turn right or left? David said that God's word is a lamp unto our feet. Psalm 119. Not a spotlight into the future. He gives enough light to take the next step. When we pray, he speaks to our hearts. Isaiah 30:21 teaches, your own ears will hear him. Right behind you a voice will say, this is the way you should go, whether to the right or to the left. So consult God in everything. And that's our good word for today and for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.